Hey guys, how are you? So I am finally sitting down long enough to share the book writing process with you guys. So ever since I launched my book, The Covenant Woman, just this past summer, I have been asked so many different questions, anywhere from, or anything from like, how do you get started writing a book, to who do you contact to help you with your book? Did you self-publish? Did you have an agent? How do you get it out there? How do you get it on Amazon? How do you get your thoughts clear enough to write your content, to put out what you want? And so they're all great questions. There's just a lot that goes to it. So I'll probably make this 2 or 3 different videos so that they can be a little bit shorter and we can get all those questions answered at one time. And if you are watching this and you have specific questions, please ask. If it's something that I know, something that I experienced through the process of me writing a book, I would love to help you guys. And I'll probably be doing these videos all week in the car because, well, it's spring break and kids in the house, and this is just easier. And so I'm sitting out in the driveway doing these videos. But usually the first, or one of the most common questions that I get asked is, how did you come up with the content for your book? And the Mel people are pulling in behind me. Of course this would happen. I will be right back. So how did I come up with the content? So in order to tell you guys that, I kind of have to take you guys on a little journey. So in the book, there is a section called The Birth of the Covenant Woman, and that takes you through that journey that I went through, and just shares how this book even came about. But for those of you who haven't read that yet, I'll just share it with you. I'm going to give you guys the shorter version here, but I was at a point in my life a few years ago where I needed God's direction in my life. I needed Him to show me what I was supposed to be doing, because I had this whole thing, this part of it makes me so emotional, because God worked on me so much during that time. But I had this burning inside of me, but not like a bad burning, not anything bad. It was good, but it was like something that was inside of me that needed to come out. And I kept feeling that. And I remember I told lots of different people, I'm supposed to be sharing my faith. I'm supposed to be sharing my faith. I don't know on what level that is. I don't know what that even means. And for those of you who've been following me for a while, y'all know, like, I've always been strong in my faith. I've always posted scriptures and positive things and godly things, and that's who I am. That's one of the things that make me who I am. But there was just something in me that it was like, this has to come out. I don't know what this is even, but whatever it is has to come out. And it was really just unexplainable. Here I go. Waterworks are coming. But I just kept saying, I got to share my faith. It's my faith. There's something in there that needs to come out. And I just started asking God every single day. I was like, Lord, I don't know what this is, but you're putting something in here, and I know it needs to come out, and I need you to show me what it is. And at that point, I, like, calling and purpose and assignments, like, all that was coming in my mind, and I was like, Lord, show me what I'm supposed to do with my life, because I know this is, whatever you're trying to tell me, this is what I'm supposed to do. So I literally, like, this went on for weeks. I was every single day, all throughout the day, I was like, Lord, show me, what am I supposed to do? I've got to do something. I need to do whatever you're putting on my heart. Show me what to do. Lord, what do I do? What am I supposed to be doing with my life? I know it's not just selling shampoo. Show me what to do. And I just feel like I would have had to get on His nerves so bad, because I did it repeatedly all day long when I went on my walks, because I used to walk. We had a really long driveway, and I would walk up and down that driveway for exercise, and I would that's what I would, like, beg Him. I was like, show me, Lord, what is this? And then I realized one day, I think I was watching a sermon on it, but I hadn't got quiet to listen to Him. Like, I was like, tell me. But I didn't sit down and let Him tell me. Like, I just kept talking, and then I would go off and do my own thing. Like, I would talk, and I wouldn't sit quietly and listen to where He was leading me and what I was supposed to do with this burning, whatever this was coming, that needed to be birthed. I just went on about my day, never asked Him, or I never listened to Him. I just asked and begged and just went on with my day. And now when I say that, it sounds so funny to me, because I'm like, what was I thinking? Like, if I had a conversation with somebody and I was asking them a question, I wouldn't just get up and leave after I asked the question. And I think that that's just such an important lesson that I've learned, because I've been able to share that with others too. But when we're asking God and seeking God for direction, or seeking him for with a question, or whatever it is, we've got to sit down long enough to hear his answer. If not, if we're so busy and distracted with everything else, we're not even giving him the time that he deserves, right? So that was a very important lesson, and I was supposed to learn that lesson, and I'm so thankful that I did, because it has served me well over those next couple of years. So I'm so thankful for that, and I will probably be emotional this whole video. So then finally I sit down and I got quiet and I listened. And I'm talking, this was after weeks. I was like, oh, I'm supposed to listen to what he wants to tell me. Duh. Like a light bulb went off finally. And there were some things in my life, as one specific thing for sure, that I had to surrender. And the Lord showed me, basically, if I continued in the way that I was going with that specific thing, I was continuing to see myself less than the way that God sees me. And if I didn't level up, basically, and finally see myself the way that God sees me, then I would always stay pushed down, and I would never live up fully to what God created me for, because I couldn't see myself the way that God sees me. And I was torn, because it's like, I knew who I was. I know that I'm a daughter of the King of Kings, and I know who God's called me to be. So I know it, but I wasn't living it, if that makes sense. Has anyone ever been there? Like, you know who God says you are, but you're just not living that out, and it's hard to know it when you're not living it out, and vice versa. Does that make sense? So my view of myself was so clouded by this thing that was making me see myself less than the way that God sees me. And I remember I thought so many different times, if I'm not good enough for this, like for this thing in my life, then how am I good enough for God to use me? And so through that, God took me through a journey to surrender that thing to him. And I did not want to. I didn't want to. And I will be 1000% honest and tell you that I have picked that thing back up so many times since. And God is so good. And he is so gracious. And he is so for you that he doesn't hold it against you. Like, he knows that we're human, and he knows that we need some extra help. And sometimes we don't ever see the big picture, and God always sees the big picture. And God knows what's going to serve us, and he knows what's not going to serve us. He knows what he created us for. He knows what his plans for us look like. And so he'll just keep nudging you closer to where he wants you to be. And I'm so, so grateful for that. And what I've learned is, it doesn't have to be a bad thing, but maybe it just doesn't serve you. Maybe it's just not something that was meant to be in your life. Or maybe it was meant to be in your life, and that season of your life is over, and you have to move on from that thing. Am I hitting home with anybody? And so finally, when I was able to surrender that thing that God needed me to lay aside so that I could move into wherever I was supposed to be going. And I say I finally surrendered it. That was the first time I finally surrendered it. It happened a lot of different times. But once I did that, I mean, within days, it's going to make me emotional again, because God is so good. And he will make sure that we get it. And I mean, it might take us a while because we have our own wills, right? But God, he is so good. And it's like, literally, as soon as I was like, okay, God, okay, it's yours. Like, I want what you want. And that was the first time I ever I think that was the first time I ever said that out loud and actually meant it. Like, Lord, if this is not for me, this is not what I want, but I want whatever it is that you want. Whatever it is that you want for me, that's what I want. And this hurts, and this is okay. It's okay that this hurts, because I know that my future, I was finally able to see like a bigger vision for my life, I guess. And I remember just telling him, I know that whatever future plans you have for me, if this isn't it, I'm okay with that, because you created me, so you have a plan for me, and you know where I'm supposed to be, you know what I'm supposed to be doing, and you know, I know that you have my best interest at heart. So then once I surrendered that thing, he gave me the title, The Covenant Woman. Just put that on my heart and showed me that it was going to be a book that would help women get prayers answered, like show them how to get prayers answered, show them what faith is. And my first thought was, I'm not equipped for this. I have such a big past. I mean, just like everybody, but I'm so far from perfect. Here I am struggling with this huge thing that is hindering me from even seeing myself the way God sees me. I mean, I'm just now turning a page from that, basically, just getting turned away from that. And who am I to tell anybody how to live, or who am I to help women? Like, I'm not equipped for this. And I kept thinking, like, no, Lord, like at first I was like, how can I do this? And God reminded me that me writing a book has nothing to do with my past. It has to do with me being obedient and me stepping into who God's called me to be. And honestly, my past only made it better, because we aren't perfect, and nobody would take anybody who's absolutely perfect seriously. Like, it's you learn from people, and you're able to grow whenever you see other people who have made the mistakes, who are full of flaws. We all are. It's through him that this is even going to get done, and it's his words. This is his book. He's using me as a vessel to actually write it out and put it out there. I just think it's important for me to note to you guys that I didn't decide I want to write a book one day and sit down and just start writing. I pleaded with God to show me my calling. He removed some things, or I allowed him basically to remove some things out of my life, to level up, to see myself the way that he could see me, so that I could take on the assignments that he's called me to do for my greater purpose. And so with that came the content. Like, he sat down and he didn't sit down. I guess he sat down with me. I sat down and I wrote everything, all the topics that he started to put on my heart. Cause I was like, all right, Lord, if we're going to do this, like, I'll write it, but you have to tell me what you want in it. Like, this is for your glory, and whoever this is supposed to impact, that's all that I want. And I meant that wholeheartedly. So I just wrote down every topic that he had me write. And then I started, just every single day, I would get on my computer and I would just write everything he said. After I got all the topics all written, and the content for the topics filled in, I was like, okay, Lord, now what am I supposed to do?